My wife has said there's the me on Gen X Grown Up, and there's a totally different me on this show. They're nice, they're polite, they're kind, they're deferential. And she's like, I like those people better than you.
Either of those. Turns out that John's an asshole. And the John you like is the John from... the only John you know is Gen X in 1980s now.
This one. Oh, no.
Wait. Okay, well, we can go to his panel, and that's it.
Because I'll be on. That's right.
Gen X grown-up
That's
self. And maybe we should do a 1980s now panel.
Well, just hug me there.
Right?
Just hug me in the panel.
Yes. I'll just hug you at the panel.
You gave me a great idea. I have this portable Zoom mic. I'll bring it and we'll just constantly tell John we're doing a podcast. So then he'll be on his best behavior, but we won't see the monster that he really is.
Hey, guys. We're doing a show. I like you too.
He's like, what do you mean the tip's not included? Oh, hey, you're still doing that show thing, huh, Will? No, I'm here. Yep. Kat, even though I know we'll see less of your beautiful face, can you raise your mic a little bit?
Raise my mic.
It's a little more it's a little more live where you are.
What does that mean? It's a little more
echoey.
live.
Echoey? Yeah.
In the space.
It is,
as opposed to deadened.
I was wondering about that.
Okay. All right, I don't know. Whatever. Hey, welcome back to another episode of 1980s Now, a weekly examination of the importance of 1980s pop culture and its influence today. My name's Will, and joining me, as always, are my friends and co-hosts, Kat and John. Hey, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hey there, friends and co-hosts.
I thought maybe he was snubbing us for a second
different.
there.
No,
I thought so
I was
too.
responding in kind.
Uh-oh, we're getting a little glimpse of that other John.
That son of a bitch.
Maybe I was arguing with other John last week about a short round film.
Oh,
I was wondering. Yeah, there was a little side of
other John's not a fan of Kiwi
different John.
performance.
It's not true. It's totally not true.
Hey, don't forget to listen to John. There's 3 Johns, but one John. I don't know. Is that John Prime? That's not John Prime. That's John.
No, probably not.
All right, the secondary John, not the tertiary John. On his other podcast, Gen X Grown Up. You can find it everywhere podcasts are available, and he's got a YouTube channel with the very same name.
Makes it easy to find.
Lots of useful retro Gen X stuff and contemporary stuff too. Because you guys talk about current things.
Yes.
But he can't help but be Gen X because the 3 hosts are Gen X, like us, but different people.
That does it every time.
Well, speaking of that, on today's show, we're going to be questioning whether we're getting too old for this shit. And by shit, I mean hosting a 1980s pop culture podcast.
Oh, is that the only thing we're going to
determine
examine?
By the end, we're too old. We're shutting this thing down.
So if we find that we're not too old, will we have to then run the same evaluation again next year to see if now we're too old?
Maybe
or will this stick?
Right.
Will this be a
As
definitive?
each of us reach a birthday, we have to do it.
So 3 times a year we have to evaluate.
Yes. We just start having fewer hosts, and then whoever's left,
we whittle them down. Right.
And I'll explain the too old for this shit thing. I'll explain what I mean. I don't really think we're too old or anybody's too old.
Okay.
But before we do that, we'll review current news stories related to 1980s media, including have Quantum Leap's ratings leapt into the crapper? Like I say, I write the first thing that comes to mind, and I'm like, that's it. It's art.
I like it.
Have John Williams' plans to work as a Walmart greeter fallen through?
Oh, no.
Does Indiana Jones have a bladder issue? It depends.
Oh.
So, yeah, look, it's the first thing that comes to mind. My wife was there when I was writing this. She's like, you're not going to say that. I'm like, yes, I am. Now I'm definitely going to say it. Well, you notice there's even a theme running through some of our news stories here with regard to age. And
is it urine? Oh, no, it's not urine.
Yes.
no.
I was trying to find the theme.
Yeah. Running through all of our stories and our co-hosts. And maybe Harrison Ford, apparently. Look, the reason we're talking about this week, about getting too old or questioning or not, is because this week's interview, we do have an interview this week. So later this week, you're going to be able to hear our discussion with the Real Slim Sherri. You've seen Sherri on Instagram or TikTok. As she says on her website here, she serves up sarcasm, humor, and cuss words daily.
Wow, yes.
But she gives these very poignant, well thought out takes on what it is to be a Gen X person in this day and age. And, much like Dream Kid, just caught a number of her videos and really responded to them, and hilarious, and again, thoughtful and thought-provoking. And so anyway, we're going to be speaking with Real Slim Sherri about all sorts of things, including getting old versus getting older, because a lot of the stuff she touches on is talking about getting older and not necessarily getting old.
She had a really sassy video today.
Is that right?
I saw on Instagram
Today, yeah.
It's great. It's about what to do when you have haters, or what she's saying to her haters. I have 2 haters, remember?
Oh, on YouTube?
Yeah.
That said,
somebody on YouTube.
if you get rid of that woman, will me and my 11 friends will subscribe? That's literally what they said, right?
I've cost us 12 subscribers.
I snapshot every hater comment on YouTube I've ever gotten and put it in a folder. I love them. Love them. Bring it on.
Well, the thing I observed when I was talking to Sherri, and you could listen to that interview in a few days, is that these folks putting these comments, they've got to be a younger generation, right? Or maybe even an older generation. But growing up as a Gen X person, I know there's probably little I can say that's really going to get to you guys as an anonymous person. Like, I know, having grown up myself, some stranger saying some dumb shit to me is not going to bother me at all.
Yeah.
And as a kid, like, I cared about my parents' opinion, and that was pretty much it. If they said do this or try this or do that. Anybody else, it's like, whatever. I don't care what you think.
I don't know if that's true of all Gen Xers. I think that I was a little different. I was more affected.
Okay.
Not so much now. I've kind of grown out of it. But when I was younger.
To the point of this episode, I think it depends upon how and in what way you grew up or grew older. What's your maturity level versus your chronological age, right?
Oh my gosh. John, Sherri and I talk about that too. All right.
Wow.
Instead of me just telling you by proxy everything I talked to Sherri about, you guys tune into that in a few days and listen to that. We're going to talk about something similar from a different angle, but only after we first get caught up with 1980s news. Hey, according to Cosmic Book News, Cosmic Book News, not comic book news, Cosmic Book News, Quantum Leap suffers ratings low with transgender episode. Subtitle, hundreds of thousands of fans tune out the latest episode of the reboot. Subtitle, can they make right what is currently wrong?
Oh, well, they turned it around. At least they got it on key to being about Quantum Leap finally.
Yeah,
put a reference
finally.
in.
So as reported by Matt McGlowan, I'm going to say, who uses the word woke, by the way, often as he uses the article the, but he uses woke, whatever that means, to deride the any artistic direction taken by someone with whom he disagrees.
That's fair.
Okay.
But with regard to his article, hopefully you can hear my air quotes.
I could hear the air quotes.
The last episode of Quantum Leap, Let Them Play, which was about a transgender girl. Now see, he writes, this son of a bitch. He even writes transgender boy/girl. Okay. She is only a transgender girl. She's not also a transgender boy.
Girl. Exactly.
Anyway, about a transgender girl who wants to play on the high school basketball team, saw only 1.735 million viewers tune in, with the episode getting a 0.3 rating. Now, John's going to help us out with some of this a little bit later, because I have a real question about this other thing that I learned about. Anyway, he goes on to write, regarding the episode, quote, I haven't seen it, but I was alive in 2012 and don't recall transgender children being much of a topic, especially with Latino families. But it's obvious the woke show creators want to virtue signal in order to fit with the times. Worth the mention is that Quantum Leap also doesn't star any white male characters, end quote. No, it's not worth a mention. None of that was worth a mention.
Oh my gosh.
It's not surprising to me that somebody, again, it tosses around this phrase woke, that they also have this paragraph here describing that they don't recall it being an issue. And therefore, the logical conclusion is, why is it an issue?
Right.
If I had an experience and it doesn't affect me directly, I mean, this seems to be consistent, right? If shit didn't affect me directly, I don't care about it. It's not a big deal. Move on.
Well, that would be fine if it didn't affect you directly. Just don't care about it.
Yes.
Right. Exactly.
But they do care about it because it offends their sensibilities.
Or they're mad that you care about it.
Yeah. I question how the topic of this episode could have impacted ratings when you don't know the content of the episode until it has aired and you have watched it to know.
Yes.
John,
now, I will say that in the world of social media, hypothetically, it should mean that the previous episode was weak, hence the following episode saw the repercussions of that week. However, the previous episode was the best episode of Quantum Leap ever, And yet
Really
the
cool.
subsequent
Yes.
episode was got so, ratings that were not what they expected. Okay.
Right.
Now they did go out on social. I know Mason Alexander was hitting hard on social media how proud they were of this episode and how he feels represented and everything.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's enough to impact millions of viewers who you think everybody saw Mason Alexander's tweet and said, well, I'm not watching it. It seems like a correlation that is not substantiated.
Yeah. What else? I don't know. Like what else was going on that could have affected the ratings? I don't know what.
Well, I can explain to you.
show?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I actually did some digging and I found an article also by Matt McGlowan that ran in the same shitty website nearly a month before the quote unquote controversial episode aired.
Okay.
Where he writes proudly, because he's bragging about how he's a prognosticator of television. Quote, the norm for a lot of TV shows is when they go on midwinter break, the ratings tank.
So this is normal. This was just going to happen no matter what the topic?
It was predicted, yes. He predicted it before. But now, a month later, it's
But he found a new correlation that aligns with his bias.
Yes.
Therefore, he has a new prediction of what the cause was.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow.
Okay, cosmic book time.
So to put this in context, prior to the 2023 episode, the first one that aired this year, the last episode that aired in 2022 was on November 7th. It saw 2.65 million viewers tuning in. When it returned on January 2nd, nearly a 2-month, 56-day hiatus later, which what is the wisdom of doing that? That sounds like a really terrible idea. That's just like a modern thing. But unless you're like Breaking Bad or Walking Dead, you probably can't get away with that kind of thing.
I mean, you could see why Quantum Leap did it because they got renewed unexpectedly and they ordered more episodes. So they probably had to do some retooling and maybe like the episode that was going to be the finale got pushed. Who knows, right? So you can get why they might have had, need more time, right?
That's possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when they returned, though, on January 2nd, their number of viewers dropped to approximately 2.31 million viewers.
Okay.
The week after that, the Paging Dr. Song episode, where he played a doctor, had a 0.3 share with 1.753 million viewers. And I'm going to the third decimal place for a point to make a point there.
Okay.
The week after had a 0.29 share with 2.1 million viewers. So the share went down a touch, but the viewers, there were more viewers.
Okay.
Then the episode in question here on February 6th had a 0.29 rating with 1.752 million viewers. Statistically, mathematically, the same as the episode 2 weeks earlier that didn't garner an article on Cosmic Book News.
Right.
About how, maybe he'd say the same thing. He was woke because he did leap into a woman. But he's, female doctors. That's what it is. Women are being doctors now? Are you kidding me?
Can I make a request that you crumple up paper at the end of this story too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Excellent.
Garbage.
Double thumbs up.
Hey, another 1980s news as reported by Entertainment Weekly. And speaking of, getting old versus getting older, here's a prime example. John Williams isn't retiring from composing after all. So if you recall, the legendary composer announced not too long ago that it was his intention to retire after completing the score for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which is, just how many films has he collaborated with Spielberg on now? Numerous.
Wow.
I mean, going back at least to Jaws.
Yeah.
Double digits, right?
Yeah, that was the first one. That's right.
Which I guess was Spielberg's first real blockbuster. So since then.
Yeah. But now the 90-year-old composer is reversing course. While sitting down with Spielberg at a special event reminiscing about their 50-year collaboration as director and composer on January 12th, Williams revealed he's not actually retiring. Quote, I'll stick around for a while. I can't retire from music. A day without music is a mistake, end quote.
Beautiful.
Yeah, such a profound thing, right? I can't imagine having any day just not even listening to music. I'm listening to it one way or another every day.
Yeah. That sort of made me chuckle because I thought, well, I agree. A day without music, right? That's, I love my music.
Morning, Duran incoming.
No, that is so not correct. You can see my shirt, actually, if I gesture
I told
wildly.
you!
There we go. Had to be a way to get there.
But I was gonna say, from his perspective, what he means perhaps is creating music, and that's not something, of course, that all of us do. So his metrics are a little different, maybe.
I suppose.
Can you imagine if you spent an entire career, decades upon decades, conducting orchestras and writing and collaborating, And like to quit that cold turkey, you can't imagine. I mean, it's got to be in his blood now, right? It's seeped into his bones. Even if he's not doing it, he wants to be there. I'm sure he wants to be, somehow collaborating, contributing. It's his life. That's his life, and a damn fine life he has made of it too, and so much impact. So it's to our benefit that he's backpedaled on his retirement. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, and folks, I'm so encouraged by shows like The Mandalorian and Boba Fett, in which we have, or Andor, where you have folks emulating John Williams' score, because he hasn't done all the Star Wars stuff, and and I remember feeling a sort of a sigh of relief, thinking, there are folks of new generations that are going to pick up, that were inspired and influenced by his work. Thank goodness. The composer went on to explain how Spielberg's father worked at the Shoah Foundation until he was 101 or 102. Whoa. So, at which Williams joked, quote, "I've got 10 years to go." Yeah, thank goodness.
I love that. I have heard that some folks who have reached that age, that high of a number, they say, don't stop working, because that helps you keep going. Yeah. Helps you maybe feel younger, or be able to live longer.
Prevent stagnation, right?
Right.
Having a goal. Yeah.
Do something with your day.
Yeah. We could talk about that more in just a moment here, but yeah, absolutely. Spielberg revealed that he just found out, sitting beside John Williams, that John was not retiring. And said that, to your point, Kat, he said that Spielberg goes on to say that he has to figure out what he's directing next to make sure he gives Williams a project to work on.
Right on.
At 90 years and 350 days old, Williams became the oldest person to be nominated for an Oscar this year.
Yeah.
If you exclude all the honorary awards, because there's some elderly folks who've won those. He also topped his own record at the most nominated living person with 53 Oscar nominations.
Wow.
Only Walt Disney has more overall with 59.
Wow.
If he does win, it'll be his 6th Oscar.
I know what he's going to score next. I know what the next movie will be.
You do? What is it?
The Short Round movie. He has to do the Short Round movie.
It's the Indiana Jones theme, but on xylophone. Is all it is. Whenever I think about Spielberg and John Williams' collaboration over the years, like I can only imagine the shorthand they must have now. Because it's not like, okay, I hired a composer. Let's talk about what I want here. And they could go, Spielberg could go, remember the theme we threw away from that movie? Maybe we could use that here. Or remember the feeling we talked about 20 years ago about this thing? I just imagine how robust that working relationship is, that you can't. It's one thing to have the guy retire. It's another thing to have him say that, hey, guess what? That thing thought you're going to have to replace, I'm still around to do it. Yeah. And the relief that Spielberg had to have. Like, oh, thank goodness, I have to retrain somebody.
That's true. Yeah,
no, I like that. I hadn't thought of that perspective of them having like a shorthand and understanding each other so well. That's really cool.
It's like us. You do so many podcasts together, you know what the other person's going to say.
Sandwiches.
That's the same thing.
I mean, sentences. Speaking of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and in other 1980s news, as Hollywood reported by The Hollywood Reporter, Dial of Destiny director James Mangold explains how time has changed Indiana Jones. Oh, and I also should have said, and speaking of getting old versus getting older. So, look, famously, Indiana Jones quipped, "It's not the years, it's the mileage." Well, this 5th film may be about both. At 80 years old, Harrison Ford may very well be the only octogenarian to lead a wall-to-wall action film.
Yeah.
Let's pause here. Any other 80-year-olds? No. Can't be.
No.
Not an action film. Not like this.
No.
Well, for director Mangold, who's known Ford for years and previously worked with him on Call of the Wild, Ford's age, which is also Indiana Jones's age, presented challenges and opportunities to tell a different kind of a story. Mangold says, quote, "We can't hide from where we are in our lives. None of us can, and neither can Indiana Jones. The mistake you can make in movies, and we've all seen movies like this, is where someone is of a ripe age, but the entire movie is continuing this charade along with them that they're not that old," end quote. Yeah, and I do, kind of do recall some of the maybe 80s action movies where Clint Eastwood was getting a little too old to be Dirty Harry, or, Sean Connery had no business going back to be Bond.
Sure. Yeah.
It was a little, I did feel a little like I was watching maybe my grandfather continuing to do something he shouldn't. like being at a rave or something. Grandpa, what are you doing here?
Keep me hydrated.
I realize some of the things that I may say as a joke, like even that, may be contradictory to how I feel about aging, getting old versus getting older.
Oh.
But they make for good jokes. So there you go.
Yeah, we can leave it at that.
Here's the thing, Will. And we can touch on this more later in the show, but what you just said is so poignant to the topic of the episode, because if you just grew older, then you can continue to enjoy poking fun and that sort of thing, and understanding that things are just funny. Think about your best friends that you cut up with. You don't mean the horrible things you say to them. You say them because it's funny, right? But when people grow up, when they get mature, then they're like, well, then they're like Sam Eagle, the damn Muppet, right? He's like, oh, so I'm far too dignified for this shenanigan and tomfoolery. I think people they lose their sense of humor when they grow up versus just growing old. There's a distinct difference.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah,
Good
you're right.
point.
We will touch upon that. You're right. Yeah. Crucial to this approach of incorporating Ford's real age, in the development of this film, Mangold says that the key was to showing how everything around Indy has moved on. Quote, what happens to a hero built for a black and white world when he finds himself in one that is gray? It's a problem that produces humor, produces contradictions, produces adjustments that this character is going to have to make. Of course, we've talked about previously that most of the film is set in 1969, but the first 20 minutes of the film are set during Indy's glory days.
Yes.
During, it seems once again, sort of a World War II era, where he's once again are still fighting the Nazis. And Mangold's talked about this before, and he goes into a little bit more in this Hollywood Reporter article. That he does it so that the audience doesn't have to have sort of an intellectual exercise imagining, well, what was it like when those old other films, or what would it have been like when Indy was, in his 40s? No, he's going to show you it for 20 minutes and then cut to him at 70, because Indiana Jones is 70 in the film, even though Ford's older.
Even though he's,
So within just a moment, a scene cut, now we've gone, aged that character so much, 20, 25 years or whatever is into the future, and see that right before our eyes.
There was a wonderful section of this article that I enjoyed that really talked about how it's not so difficult to do this with Indy, because to your point, Kat, the whip, right? This is the guy who pulled a gun rather than sword fight.
Yes.
Literally, the actor did and the character did, because he was, that was kind of his improv. But Indy, even though he wasn't an octogenarian, he always looked for the easy way out, the shortcut. He's not always looking to brawl. He's not always looking to stand toe to toe. He's looking for the clever way out. And that's something that his age is going to dictate he be even more clever about, because he can't fall back on his youth and his virility.
You're right. Yeah, you're
Brawn might not be there.
I was remembering our conversation where we talked about how Ford worked with Lawrence Kasdan in the first film to tweak lines so he didn't sound like Han Solo. Ford revealed recently that obvious age jokes were taken out of the movie. Which is great. Again, for a couple of reasons, we could talk about it, but even this mentality of sort of reinforcing that you're too old for something is, it's not a great psychology, but also, how funny can that be? But Ford says, quote, there's a moment where he observes himself, he's talking about Indiana Jones, in this situation, and he says, what the fuck am I doing here? But I hate what I call talking about the story. I want to see circumstances in which the audience gets a chance to experience the story. I'd rather create behavior that is the joke of age rather than talk about it, end quote. I am so encouraged.
Show me, don't tell me.
Yeah.
The golden rule of filmmaking. Show me, don't tell me. We don't need exposition if you have good structure and scenes that tell the same information. That you're right. That encourages me too, Will.
All right. Hey, all right. So that's it. All right. So, hey, that's enough of that. Hey, that was 1980s news. Hey, our independent podcast is brought to you every week by folks just like you. So if you'd like to help us out, please follow us on the podcast platform you're listening to right now. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share an episode on Facebook. All of these actions just take a moment and are 100% free. But if you'd like to chuck in a buck and help us keep publishing the show week after week, please visit us at 1980snow.com/support to find out how you can send us $1 or $2. And thank you so much. It means a lot. All right, so hey, look, we're going to talk about, like I mentioned, later in the week, I'm going to talk to Real Slim Sherri about a number of things, but including among those, because we're talking about Gen X topics, just like John does on his podcast. right now we're going to talk about getting old versus getting older, and a couple of things. One, I got some research that I found really fascinating about the distinction, but I've also devised a little way. Look, this is just for fun, okay?
Okay.
A little questionnaire that will all answer questions, a way of determining our sort of, let's say, mental age. Okay. Maybe. Anyway, there's 3 little rounds of 10 questions each, and we'll go through that as we talk about this other stuff here.
All right.
Anyway.
This is pure exposition. Harrison Ford would never approve.
Cut it out. Yeah. Well, no, we're going to do feats of strength. Determine our physical age as well. I want you to fight a gunman. I want you to fight a large swordsman after you've consumed water laced with dysentery. Wait 3 hours.
He was quite ill.
And then
Right. That's right.
Yep.
Right. So
He was quite ill today.
So look, I read a couple of different articles. One from the BBC, and the other one from Trafalgar, which is a travel website. Which is kind of curious that this had all this research on there, but they quoted a number of different actual studies. I thought the BBC put this interesting, sort of just kick this off. Imagine for a moment that you had no birth certificate, and your age was simply based on how you feel.
Okay.
How old would you say you are? I don't think it's possible to disconnect it from the objective reality of my chronological age at this point.
I would say, although not today, because I'm in a lot of pain, but I'll tell you about that. But I would say it was an exercise class I did Monday morning. It's killing me.
That was your first mistake.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like I'd say, okay, maybe I'm 40, but I definitely don't feel like the number I am.
Okay.
Almost 52.
You don't feel mentally like the age you are. You're saying there may be some physical limitations at the moment, or
there's some physical things that remind me that I'm not as young as I feel. Mentally.
Well, let's see. So I think I'm actually like 640 some odd months old, but
wow.
Wait, what?
Now you got to do math here.
Do I have to do math?
Like when I'm a toddler.
Let me divide by 12.
You're a toddler and he's 3 months old, he's 4 months old.
Oh.
I'm like 640 months old. But
we still have to do math.
It still doesn't walk.
You don't have to. It doesn't matter. I think like you get, like, I clearly know that my body is not a 20-year-old body, right? But yeah, like 40s, 44, 45. Like, I would love to say early 40s is how I feel. Yeah, just mentally and emotionally, just because of the what did Indiana Jones say was the quote that he said? It was the mileage, right? I think of Men in Black when Jay's talking to Kay and he says, "You got some city miles on you." Right? It's not even what kind of miles; it's what sort of miles.
There's certain mileage.
Yeah, like I feel I have some city miles on me, but mid 40s ish.
Okay.
Well, it turns out most people feel younger or older than they really are, and this is referred to among scientists as a subjective age. And it turns out that this it has a real effect on your physical and mental health.
How can you feel older with no frame of reference for what it's like to feel that age?
That's a good point.
Well, I think it's what we imagine it to be, right? And maybe what we see in films or observe in relatives.
Because if you feel younger, you're like, I feel like I did when I was bleh.
Sure.
But if you feel older, you're like, I don't know what it feels like to be 60. I have no idea. I'm not there yet.
I think it's more like, I feel as old as Grandpa looks. And Grandpa's like, don't drag me into this. I'm on my way to a rave or whatever. I don't know. Whatever.
There's the rave.
Keep me hydrated.
Keep me hydrated.
Yeah, I think it has to do with imagination and projection, and connecting.
All right.
To, yeah.
But anyway, scientists are finding out that your subjective age may be essential for understanding the reasons that some people appear to flourish and others seem to fade away. But the importance doesn't end there. Various studies show that your subjective age can also predict various important health outcomes, including your risk of death.
Wow.
So in a very real way, you may be as old as you feel.
And is that because of how you act based on how you feel? Like, I'm old, I shouldn't go do that, therefore you don't expose yourself to skydiving? Or is it a mental state or the positions you put yourself in, I wonder?
I think based on what I read, it's even removed from that because they talk about folks who believe themselves to be younger, feel younger, are more active physically. So they may be more likely to skydive.
Or just go for a brisk walk, maybe. Maybe it doesn't have to be skydiving, but it could be.
No, it has to be.
Flap your arms.
I lived a hard life. So according to the renowned, they say that anyway, I don't know, I've never heard of these folks, Ashley's Ohio longitudinal study of aging and retirement, they found that people with more positive views of our own aging lived on average 7.6 years longer than with folks that had negative views.
Yep, I can see that.
Makes sense.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, and talking about John was saying, how can you have an outlook that's older than you are? What would that even mean? And this idea that folks that do have that may affect their health if they do have that. I wanted to share with you guys a few, because these things drive me crazy. Memes that, for which they say, if you know X or if you recognize this, then you're old, Here's one, for example. If you ate a Big Mac out of this, and they've got the classic styrofoam container, then you're old AF.
I reject the bottom part. Like I can look at that. Yeah. And first I'm thinking, well, I never ate Big Macs. I ate chicken nuggets. So, but
it's like, I don't even agree with the whole
I'm immune.
Premise.
Your argument is baseless.
But I can look at that and feel like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, exactly.
I see comparable ones that say, if you recognize this thing, take an aspirin a day for your heart or whatever, right? Or get your colonoscopy or whatever, effectively saying that if this, then you must be 50 or older, effectively is kind of what they're saying.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
And here's another one. If you know you're old, when you tell someone, I'll see you same bat time, same bat channel, and they have no idea what you're talking about.
I just think they're uncool. It doesn't mean I'm old. It means...
Hey.
Whoops.
I say same bedtime, same bed.
No. If they don't know what you're talking about.
Well, they don't know.
Yeah.
John, the complete opposite of what you're saying.
I agree with how Kat said it. It just says you have knowledge. It means if you know this, then you have knowledge. You've lived a life. You've had experience. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And finally, this other one here, which shows a picture of Luke Skywalker from A New Hope versus Luke Skywalker and the Rise of Skywalker. You know you're getting old when your belt has crept up above your belly button.
Well, this is silly. I've never seen this one.
Funny. I mean, whatever. I guess it's funny.
I don't find it not funny.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I can see the humor in aging, but I also disagree with the assertion that if you know this, therefore you are old and you are decrepit and you are unworthy of having fun and being young or whatever. It's kind of a judgmental thing in those memes that's implied.
Yes.
That's the part I don't care for. But I laugh at them and I share them because I think they're funny.
Right.
But I do know, I think some people, and maybe you can't say that they honestly believe that meme, but I do know people who think of themselves as old. Oh no, we're getting old. We're old now, No, we're getting older. And getting older is inevitable. But getting old, you're right, John, implies something about, well, it's time to wind things up, time to shut down, time to do fewer things.
Right.
This article that I mentioned here from Trafalgar says a 2006 follow-up study by Yale University found that seniors who held negative self-stereotypes about aging tended to lose more of their hearing.
Oh. Wow.
Than seniors with more positive views,
Were it anything but hearing, I would say it's psychosomatic. Yeah. But like if you can't hear, you can't hear, really.
But it's almost like really tuning things out, like sort of fading back, not connecting with what's going on. It's like it's affecting their ability to...
A self-fulfilling prophecy. Like I'm shutting down, therefore... Is it use it or lose it? Is that what it is? Like if you're not out there gathering new input, then you know, the receiver gets dirty? Maybe it's just wax. Just clean it out.
Maybe they just need to, get a little cleaning there.
Well, maybe, but you remind me, Kat, that in one of these studies, they talked about how getting older generally is associated with certain phenomenon. It's accepted that people tend to get more mellow when they get older. They become more introverted, like John was suggesting, less open to new experiences. I've seen this happen to folks, people that not necessarily. Well, I must say even my parents, my dad especially, doesn't really want to do anything, but he's kind of old. But personalities changes like that are less pronounced in people who are younger at heart.
I believe
found.
You know, one meme, you talking about those other memes that are kind of judgmental of age, but there's one of those sorts of memes that I actually find encouraging and validating. It's the one that says, man, it's weird being the same age as old people. Have you seen this? I love that because it's like, I'm not, but it's weird that I'm the same age as all these old people I know. How weird is that? Because I'm not that. And I think that's really from the perspective of that opposing viewpoint, that opposing viewpoint of people who are aging, but not letting it define their life experience. It's like, there's not like a rule. Well, if I'm 40, now I have to do this. Well, 50, I have to stop doing that, start doing this. It's not. It's just do what you can do. And then sometimes you'll become the same age as old people.
All right. Hey, let's pause for a moment on this type of talk to play our first round of...
I don't like everything the way it is now compared to the way it used to be.
Was that me?
Yes.
Did you get that from a clip from me? Okay.
You were talking to your wife earlier as your authentic self.
Which one is that? Is that 1, 2, or 3?
Prime.
John, does this fall under you can pick on your friends and it's okay and it doesn't really hurt their feelings or whatever?
That's right.
Okay, good.
That's right.
Good. All right, so here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to give you, for this round here, so we're going to start with our actual ages, okay?
Okay.
I'm almost 52. Like
Do I put my almost age?
Yeah, look, it's close enough, right? I'm going to just say 52.
Okay.
Look, again, this is not scientific. What I did was I went to a number of different sites that I have a list here somewhere. I don't know. I'll put it in the show notes.
Am I going to need a calculator for this?
No, you just
abacus,
paper and pen, or I can mark it down for you too. Just tell you.
Okay. I have a graphing calculator from 1983 high school.
Look, speaking of things that it's getting older, but it's still useful.
See, just like me.
So what we're going to do is start with our actual ages, and then in this first round, I'm going to give you 10 items that, according to these various places that I pulled, are things you should stop doing after 50.
Okay.
If you do any of these things, we're going to take a year off of our quote unquote age.
Oh,
if you do them, you take a year off.
We'll see what our subjective age is after 3 rounds of this kind of changing. Okay, so. Okay, here you go. So look, we're going to subtract 1 point or 1 year off of our actual age. If
I love it.
Here's the first one. You have more than 2 social media accounts.
Oh.
Yeah, you got to say that. Yeah. John and I definitely.
Now I definitely do. Yeah.
You do.
Oh yeah, I'm TikToking and I have a Twitch account, but yeah.
I got an alt. I got another alt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got my burner phone.
Somebody's got to like my post, so I have another account so I can go like it. 2 likes.
I know. How did you get 16,000 subscribers to YouTube? That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of fake emails to go through.
Oh, it's amazing.
Okay, here's another one. If you have strong opinions about modern music, I definitely do.
Oh yeah, that's you.
You get me to shut up about it.
I
don't think I do.
I don't have strong opinions about.
No, that's strong opinions.
All right. Take off a year if you have T-shirts that look like they were attacked by piranhas. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
That one I was showing you guys. I got to get another one because it's falling apart.
Holding up my hand is working great for a podcast. I just realized. Can you hear the wind of my hand coming past my microphone, listener?
If you were like Bruce Lee, I'd hear it.
Yeah.
That's right. Wait, so what if I'm not wearing them on a regular basis? If I have them and maybe I wear them like to do something yucky.
Kat, if you're going to split hairs like that, need the details, you're too old.
That's actually the next item.
Oh no.
It's deduct 2 years.
If you had any questions about the previous questions, take it yet a year.
If you question the game, yes. If you need the rules further explained.
Just add 3 years to your actual
5
age.
questions. Like, what are we playing? All right, Grandma. All right. All it says is that. So yeah, take one off if you have old T-shirts that look like they were attacked by piranhas. All right, here. Take off a year if you still have your old CD collection.
Oh.
I don't have any CDs. I think I've gotten rid of all that.
It's, maybe a half a year.
Okay.
So, for me, I have ones that I absolutely could not live without, could not part with, but I got rid of the generic stuff, So I do have some CDs for my collection. Okay. Yeah, I still have some.
Take off a year if you have fake plants. I don't have any fake plants.
I do.
There's one in my house.
That's enough, Kat. That's more than 0. Once you hit 1, put a check mark down.
She's hoping it's a year per plant. She's running inventory.
Subtract a year if you have any grudges with anyone. Any outstanding grudges.
Oh.
And that's a sign of youth, huh? So you're saying some people mellow when they're old age? Is that what it's saying? I don't think I have any grudges. No, not me.
I think I have a half a grudge.
All right.
Partial credit.
I'm going to put
again. I guess it's like John's CD collection. Take off a year if you have any expired medications. I got a ton of those.
Oh boy.
Oh no, I take all my medications. They're fun.
All at once.
When would they expire? When would you have time?
And then they went bad. They've been around long enough. Take off a year if you have any old cell phones. Yeah, I got those too.
Oh.
Yeah, me too. I got that.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the 3GS.
Wow. I'm not that old. I mean, I don't have any that old. Take off a year if you have any aspirational clothing. You know, I'll fit in that one day again.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Me too.
Yeah.
I gotta go through my stuff. I got way too much.
Kat, you're 94 pounds. How could you have aspirational clothing? You want to be an infant?
She wants to return to clothing that she wore at birth.
That's
I'm gonna fit that onesie one day.
I love how they snap right at the crotch.
Yes,
It's super
I
convenient.
need footy pajamas
Just trying to get back
with the
into
plastic
it.
bottoms.
Oh my goodness.
Take off. Okay, final one is take off another year if you have any manuals to appliances you no longer own.
Oh.
No, I do.
Odds are I've
For
got
sure.
that. Odds are I've got that.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So far your age, we don't have to reveal them yet to the end, but so far that your age is whatever your actual age minus whatever you've got there. So yeah. So I had mentioned that idea, that concept a moment ago before we did our first round here, that folks lost hearing at a faster rate if they had negative views about aging versus those that don't. Well, another study in the 1980s found a similar phenomenon when conducting an experiment with a group of elderly men. They took the men to an environment similar to their youth and asked them to attempt to be the person they were 20 years earlier. They also spoke about events and objects from their past as if they were in the present.
Oh.
The results found that in comparison to the control group, who didn't participate in this reenactment, the men who changed their mindset achieved improved posture, dexterity, and physical appearance. Even their vision improved.
What?
And then
Oh my
decades
gosh.
later, a similar study was conducted and found the same results.
The brain is a miraculous thing, isn't it?
Oh, that's amazing.
You know, I think we could answer the question I posited earlier. Are we getting too old for this shit? This shit being hosting a podcast dedicated to 1980s pop culture. Yes, it's keeping us younger and our listeners younger.
Yes.
In a
Yes.
sense, we're reenacting those things and reliving and remembering.
That's exactly why my back is not given out yet, because I continue to podcast.
A more recent study in South Korea in 2015 made an even more incredible discovery. Researchers found that people who feel younger actually have the structural characteristics of a younger brain.
Wow.
The study participants who had an
brain's
average age of 71 underwent brain scans and psychosocial surveys. The brain scans showed that seniors who said they felt younger than their chronological age had more gray matter in the parts of the brain that usually shrink as you age and your health declines.
Wow.
But, you know, this does raise a question, and I think this is addressed in some of the research. And I think John was pointing this too. Is this a chicken and egg phenomenon? Do I have that extra gray matter and therefore I feel younger because I'm declining at a slower rate and therefore feel younger? Or do I have think about aging positively and therefore have these beneficial health effects?
Is that something we can know? I was just wondering, is that something we could even find out the answer to?
I think I did, and now I can't find it.
So you guys can answer this for me. So we are similarly minded, and what's the word I'm looking for? Like similar attitudes and outlooks and those sorts of things, right? So in general, like I can remember 10 years ago, and I don't feel any different now than I did 10 years ago. Now I couldn't say that about maybe the previous 10 from maybe, you know, 23 to 33 or 33 to 43 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But in the last 10 years, I'm 53 now. I can't I feel exactly the same. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's, I don't have any, I don't think differently. I don't feel differently. What about you guys?
Generally, I don't feel differently mentally. I don't, but I do, I guess I kind of feel like it's better. Like I feel even better about myself now. Not that I felt badly
It's
about myself
you
10
plus.
years ago. Yeah, there you go.
It's you with experience.
What's that? XP points or whatever.
Yes.
So
Nice. Well done.
Same. I don't feel different, you know, I don't, or that different. I mean, a little bit different. I do feel different physically though. That's definitely like I referenced earlier. It's like, wait, what? Like, why does that feel like that? Or why can't I start walking right away when I stand up from sitting? Like, like right now we're sitting here for however long we're sitting. And when we're done, I can't walk right away. I'm just going to stand up and kind of
hop up and go,
around
I'm up.
and then hobble a little, and then eventually I'll be fine. Once I get going.
You will? Do you feel different now than you did 10 years ago, or are you the same Will?
I think I'm the same. I feel the same way that you do. I've always told my kids, my oldest, when she first dealt with this, now my youngest who started wrestling, with mortality. And I said to both of them, the thing that, and I do believe this, and I said, look, you might not feel like this now, but there's kind of a natural comfort that if you allow to happen, if you accept how life is, that there's sort of a slow sort of, we sort of age slowly mentally and physically in a way that's okay. We don't go from, being young to suddenly being,
It's not a light switch.
No.
Right.
And there's a comfort in that. So to your point, John, do I feel different? I don't think so. But
Like that.
am I different? I don't know. It's so gradual.
I certainly find myself often having to remind myself that I'm an adult.
Yeah.
Like the other day I had to go to the bank and open a bank account. And I'm like, in the back of your head, you're like, are they going to take me seriously? Like they are. I'm a big grown ass man walking into a bank with like papers and pants on. They're going to think I'm a legitimate person, but I don't know that until they start talking to me. I go, oh yeah, they perceive me the outside, not what I think in my head.
Oh,
It was the pants. It was the pants that did it.
Yeah, was it? I should say they were long pants as opposed to shorts is what I'm saying.
Oh, I see.
Not the absence. I didn't walk around pantsless when I was young. It's not what I'm saying. Well, I did do some of that, but that's not what I'm saying here.
Right. Well, I'm thinking about Gen X Grown Up podcast, and you guys say, who refuse to grow up, brought to you by,
That's it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You remind me, one of the things I came across because, and I do talk to Sherri about this in our interview, you should check it out. What was with dealing with that idea that whether having a younger subjective age means you're necessarily immature. And according to this, they say having a lower subjective age doesn't leave us in a frozen state of permanent immaturity.
Right.
Interestingly, however, the people with younger subjective ages also become more conscientious and less neurotic. Positive changes that come with normal aging. So when we talked earlier about how there's certain things that come, maybe they're sort of the downside to getting older, being more being more introverted, et cetera, and so on. The positives that come with aging, the folks that have a younger subjective age still get those benefits too.
Well, even if you didn't, I think it's a fair trade, honestly.
Yeah. Well, living 7.6 years longer. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. This study goes on to say that the folks with the younger subjective age still seem to gain the wisdom that comes with greater life experience, but it doesn't come at the cost of the energy and exuberance of youth.
So you're saying, even if you feel younger, it doesn't mean you are immature.
Right. Which, John wasn't saying this earlier, I don't think, but there are plenty of times when I feel like, I question, am I immature? In the sense that, we had, John and I are big fans of the Star Trek, I always get the name wrong. What is it? Strange New Worlds?
Strange New Worlds.
Strange New Worlds with the star Anson Mount. And I had to reach out to Anson Mount because I thought, it'd be great to get Anson Mount on the show. He's a Gen Xer. John would freak out. And
absolutely.
And as part of the research of trying to figure out how to have on the show, I looked at two things. One, the main thing is, do they have a connection to the 1980s, right? So they could be anybody, like a young person, like Dream Kid that does something that's connected to it. He's younger than we are. Or it could be a Gen Xer who's doing something today that we love. And Anson Mount is our age.
Yeah.
And when I watch that show, I think, that's a man. That dude is a man. Now, maybe the character is a man.
He's fully grown up.
But I suspect if we spoke to him, he'd also seem like an adult. I do not feel like. So maybe it's like you're thinking about the bank, John. Maybe on the outside, I look like I could be have an officer position on the Enterprise. But I do not feel like it. I'd have imposter syndrome if I were even cast on that show.
Same.
Hey, and speaking of that, that's perfect. Because once again, it's time to play round 2 of...
I don't like everything the way it is now compared to the way it used to be.
All right, so in this round, we're going to take, and this is cumulative, right? So over time, we've just now reached a new... This is just for fun. This is not real.
Yes.
It's right. For fun. All right.
You old people, relax. Right. Calm down. So, we're just having a good time.
In round 2... We're going to now take off a year based on what we should not wear when over 50 or 50 and over. Again, this is based on These
Oh, so
very
you're going to say we shouldn't wear, and if we do wear it, we get to take a year.
Yeah.
If
Got
you
it.
wear
Okay.
it, take
Yes.
off a year.
If you wear athletic clothing in public, take off a year.
Talking like sweats.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
I don't think I own athletic clothing because I'm not athletic. So therefore, there's no danger of that.
There's no.
I mean, I own sweats, but I don't wear them out. Okay.
And I
What about
definitely
you,
don't
Pat?
sweat in them.
What if I'm going for a walk and I'm wearing like my yoga pants?
That counts. Year.
One done.
Those are for only wearing in your home. If you wear a baseball cap as a casual accessory, John, I did not. This list is from a website.
I don't know why you're pointing at me.
All right.
It's just because I famously wear caps all the time.
All right. Take off a year if you wear trendy, tight-fitting clothing.
Nope.
Oh,
I do like my jeans to be kind of snug.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think I do that. I have some
Yeah, you can have it.
kind of yoga-ish. Yeah, I do. Okay.
Take off a year if you dress like a college kid. And there's some guidance here. It says, think cargo shorts, flip-flops, graphic tees, sports jerseys, hoodies, and
Oh,
sweatshirts.
shit.
No, this is making you younger.
I
Don't
might-
curse.
I might have take off two for that. I'm not sure.
Can I put
Like
that half
everything
back?
you said, I have the cargo, I have the
Oh, okay.
tees, I have the flip flops. It's all there.
One for each.
I'm going to do 1.5 to make a whole number out of that other CD thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Take off a year if you wear excessive colors and patterns. I
Oh,
don't.
I think that's mutually exclusive with graphics tees. Like
Yeah.
that would mean I have a solid color shirt for something.
I definitely wear excessive colors and patterns.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Guess,
Good.
Yeah.
There you go.
Or if you had like a Hawaii, if you wear Hawaiian shirts, I guess, or something like that, maybe.
I did in my youth, not so
Or
much.
Hawaiian pants. Are there Hawaiian pants to go with the Hawaiian shirts?
It's called a grass skirt.
Take off a year if you use bold scents. So not the money.
Oh.
It smells. If you use perfumes, colognes, etc., that kind of
Oh.
strong and
I thought you meant like common sense.
he's bold in his thinking. He's a groundbreaker.
It just makes common sense.
Take a year off.
I have Old Spice, period.
Yep.
That's it. Old Spice.
It's in the name, John. I'm not talking about the spice.
Not a bold scent. Not a bold
That
scent.
should make him add a year, right?
Take off a year if you wear Crocs. I do
Oh
not
my
wear-
God.
I don't even own
Nope.
Crocs.
No, don't
Oh,
own 'em.
Kat's wearing
Although
Crocs
I-
right now?
Do you? I often wish I had Crocs because I love how you can accessorize with
Yeah.
little things you plug in the holes, but I'm
Those are-
jealous of that, but I'm not going to buy any.
These don't have
Kat's
any
got
holes.
cool, tie-dye ones or something.
They are
That's pretty
tie-dye.
cool.
Yeah.
And speaking of outrageous colors, she has
There you go.
tie-dyed Crocs.
Kat's going to be the
A
youngest of us.
confluence of youth.
Take off a year if you wear a man bun or pigtails. No.
Or both.
I guess over
Wait.
50 you shouldn't be having those.
Okay, I wear a ponytail, but I don't do pigtails
Yeah,
anymore, so I
pigtails,
don't think
yeah.
I get a
No,
point.
okay.
No.
That would be, yeah.
Yeah.
Man bun.
Take off a year if you wear jeans with too many holes.
Oh.
I don't think they mean the standard ones that come, not the practical ones.
I need at least 3 holes in my jeans, please. That's the factory number of holes that come with my pants.
Are you including the pockets? You're including the pockets, right?
No,
Oh.
those are containers.
Container
Foot hole, torso hole. That's what holes were you thinking?
I don't know. I was thinking fly. So when you added 2 more holes other than the fly, I was like, what is he doing?
That's
Is
a
he-
closure. That's not a that should be closed most of the time.
Gotcha.
Do you know this?
I thought you meant like a
Someone
trap
should
door,
tell you if
like,
you don't
you
know.
All right. And finally, take off a year if you wear black all the time. I'm going to take off a year only because I would if my family would let me get away with it. Probably. It's so.
I wear a lot of
practical.
black, but nah.
It's my
I
favorite
don't wear
color,
black all the time.
and it's practical. All right.
Do you have that shirt that says "I'm only wearing black until they come up with something darker"?
No, I would
That's the one
totally. I would.
You need a graphic tee. Another point for you.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I did find an
Design
answer to
your
that
own.
thing you posited earlier, Kat. That because we were talking about this chicken or egg thing.
Yes.
So this idea. So this says that
Turns out it's the chicken.
this says that while the findings, so we're this idea that is it feeling younger that makes us healthier, or feeling healthier that makes us feel younger or believe we're younger?
Right. Yeah.
It says, while the findings do not completely prove that simply feeling young means your brain is physically younger, the research is consistent with the growing body research that suggests that that brain health plays a big role in how we feel, including whether we actually feel our age. So maybe we don't know necessarily that.
But there's definitely a loop happening there.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it feeds itself. The results continue to feed feeling younger, and the feeling younger has benefits, and having benefits makes you feel younger. Yeah. So I think that's it's a cycle. It's a good cycle.
Yeah.
One you don't want to break.
I guess the biggest thing that comes out of this is this idea that they had those folks recreate what they did when they were younger, and that seemed to have at least an effect on some of their health, including their vision.
Yes.
Maybe that shows you right there whether it's the chicken or the egg.
That's so cool.
I just continue to do things I did when I was younger. I just never quit.
Yes.
So I don't have to go back and do it. I just keep doing it.
Well, I've said this many times on the show too. We are probably the first generation that can. We never had to stop
Yes.
because the technology kept up with us in a way that allowed us to.
And I know plenty of people my age and even younger who are way older. Way older.
Yeah.
George and Mo,
There's something about just disconnecting yourself from everything in your youth that brought you joy because, I must put away my, childish playthings when I become an adult. Yeah. But like when you stop playing with those things, and those people are incredibly boring. Yeah. They think that they feel obligated to be a grown up. They've got to stop enjoying the things they loved as kids.
Yeah.
Right.
But you mentioned too before, Will, that it's because as a generation we can do that.
Yeah.
Right. And certainly not we're the most wealthy because we're the first generation that frankly is poorer than our parents.
Right.
But because we grew up in that era, of digitization, and we can go back and watch old movies and listen to old music, and nothing is out of reach for us. If you want to hang on to it, there's a way to. You don't have to give up on it anymore. But some people do, just because somebody told them to.
All right, hey, let's do our final round because once again, it's time to play.
I don't like everything the way it is now compared to the way it used to be.
I just love hearing that clip.
What is that from? I can't think of it.
That is Dana Carvey's old man character from Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
On the show in the 80s. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay.
He was the guy saying, in my day, we walked uphill both ways.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, here's the final round. Now, this one, we're actually going to add a year if you do these things.
Oh no.
Right.
So these are things that, again, according to the internet, you should do after you're 50. So add 1 year if you get routine health screenings. You go see the doctor for a usual checkup, or you go for prostate or colon or breasts
Why
screenings.
does that have to make me old? I've always done it.
John's shaking his head.
It's a grown-up thing to do.
Oh, John's not that grown up.
That's the maturity part.
I do
Okay.
that. I definitely do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Good for you.
If you, John's like, I've got a young mental age. I'm still going to live 7.6 years more than you. If you go to sleep earlier.
Oh, God.
I don't do that. I would stay up all day and night if I could.
Yeah. I'm typically going to bed at 1 a.m.
I couldn't do that, but yeah. Add a year if you've taken a solo vacation.
I'm about to in July.
All right, there you go. All right, that counts for you. I guess that could be for John too, right? He goes to these conventions by himself, right?
I don't go by myself. I go with friends. I don't think I've been to one by myself.
Well,
I've traveled a lot.
Yeah, you're
That's
right.
for
Does
work,
that
though.
count then? Yeah, you're right. Is it solo? I'm going on a solo vacation with my friends. We're all solo.
You're right. We can't count.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking family.
Friends.
You're right. I was thinking
Yeah.
family.
Oh.
No, this is literally like Julia Roberts Eat, Die, Repeat, or whatever it is that she.
Oh.
What's younger than a road trip with your bros? Come on now.
Yeah, right. That's not on here though. Okay.
Doesn't have to be family.
Right.
Add a year if you've reconnected with old friends. All right. Well.
Oh. Well, yeah.
Reconnected. What if you never lost connection with them?
Well, I don't think that would count because I think the idea is that maybe when you get older, you become more wistful, and I think that's the word. Maybe.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I think the people I like the most, I've stayed in touch with.
Yeah.
The others, okay, if you contact me, but I'm okay right now. I have the number of friends I need at the moment.
Perfect number of friends.
Add a year if you've tried therapy. Oh yeah, I went to therapy for many years.
I probably should, but I haven't tried it yet.
Sure.
Wow.
That's what that means.
Kat, you should, yeah. I'm a huge believer. Everybody should go to therapy.
Oh, I know. Well, I think I think I get my therapy organically.
Through this
Like, it
podcast.
just sort of happens. Well, sure. Yeah. Podcast therapy. I went to grad school to become a creative arts therapist. And so that was kind of like
Okay.
kind of like therapy.
Is that the old adage about if you can't do, teach?
All right.
So you're like, I'm not going to do therapy, but I'll teach it.
It's a disconnect somewhere. I just can't find where it's at.
Add a year if you spend more time outside. Oh, this is definitely Cat. Cat's always outside doing stuff.
No.
I am outside. I'll tell you how often I go outside, guys. To walk to my car, to take the garbage out if my wife hasn't already taken it out, or bring the garbage back in. End of list.
Sounds about right.
Hey, add a year if you get politically active. I definitely do some things. I have done some things in my older age.
I mean, I voted, but that's about the extent of it.
All right.
I don't know that I'm any more than I used to.
Okay, so that's
Right.
no.
I mean, I'm not informed. I just vote.
So far, John, you haven't gotten any years
I haven't added any. No, I've not extended my.
Okay.
No. Now you know how immature I am.
Get yourself a VIP ticket to a concert.
Oh,
I've done that.
That's something you should do after 50.
that just
I've
happened.
done it.
I've kind of done that. I got VIP tickets for my daughter and I to see Bruce Campbell. And it turns out you get to meet him with the VIP ticket. I didn't know it.
That's so cool. Mine did not include
I
that.
VIP'd a Weird Al Yankovic concert.
Oh, that's not surprising.
Wow.
Hey, add a year if you start journaling. If you've started journaling or you journal. I don't do that.
Does blogging count? That's kind of like
that
a
could.
journal.
Yeah, I think so.
What about vlogging? I mean, I've done that. But
Yeah.
Oh gosh, John. Yeah, you've been journaling for at least a month
that's-
now or so, right?
for a few months now.
6
yeah.
weeks or so.
Okay. I'll add that. I guess that counts.
All right.
Sure.
Yeah. It's like a journal.
And finally,
Modern journaling.
add a year if you've made amends with your exes. It says, but made amends with anybody. We could say.
Oh, I didn't really have to make amends.
It doesn't have to be an ex necessarily. It could be a friend or other family member or somebody.
Well, the friend I'm thinking, there's a friend I'm thinking of that I reconnected with, but it wasn't about, I think I felt badly about not being in contact, but it wasn't like we had something happen, except that we weren't really in contact. So
You don't have to make amends if you just erase them from your life. That's really convenient.
I wasn't trying.
Yeah, why address it again?
I think we're learning that some of the things about John, although he's very youthful in many ways, are consistent with that thing about getting older. You know, sort of circling the wagons. I've got enough friends already.
Got enough friends. Shut them down. Don't need to see them.
I don't need to expose myself to anything new.
I tried to make amends with one particular ex, and
Yes.
I thought she was going to apologize to me because from my perspective, she did. It was her fault. And to my apology to her, she said, "Thank you." And that was the extent of our conversation, basically. And I was like, and she said, and thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, you guys got the results? Okay. I am, so like I said, biologically I'm 52. According to this, my again, look, subjective age we talked about. It's how you really feel. This says this, I'm 48 years old. I feel younger than that.
Okay.
I
Yeah, I think
agree.
that you seem younger than
But
that.
you had a lot of grown-up things that added on.
Damn it.
Yeah, he
Damn
did.
being mature.
Will, go
See there?
outside.
If you'd quit going to the doctor, you'd be much better off.
Quick, go to the doctor and go outside.
Quick, go to the doctor, go outside.
What'd you guys get?
John?
So I am chronologically 53, but this says I am 53 and a half. And so I had 7.5, so I was at 45. So I said mid 40s is kind of how I felt.
Did. Yes, you
It's kind
did.
of spot on-ish. Yeah.
I am almost 42, almost 52. Trying to make myself younger already. Almost 52.
There you go.
And according to this, I am 44.
Huh.
All right. I I lost 8 and then I lost 5 more, but then I gained 5. So I canceled
gained
out
them,
my,
yeah. For all your maturity cost you years. Yeah.
I feel like, like you were saying earlier, we have peers and we see a lot of them. I say, this dude's 52. Are you kidding me? He can't be my age.
Right.
He looks ancient. Or whatever. Maybe looks isn't again, Anson Mount.
Seems.
He seems like a man. I guess what I will say is I feel like the three of us are fairly compatible as far as,
Yeah.
subjective age.
I would say. Yep.
Yes, I think you're right.
All right. Hey, that's the show. We've already shown that, that we're keeping young by doing this show, but all good things must come to an end under an hour, under 2 hours, ideally under an hour and a half. But
We want to keep doing this show. We want to keep feeling younger, and we want you to feel younger. And we want to thank the generosity of folks just like you Thank you to our early adopters like Kathy Burke, Rick Parker, and Karen Flieger. And thank you especially to our Secret of Our Success Level Patreon supporters, John Henderson, Craig Coletta, Marcus Taylor, and Tony Great. Of course, the youngest of those are the early adopters. And Tony's the oldest. He came on later.
Chronologically the oldest?
Yeah, what?
I'm just being silly. I'm just playing with our theme of,
Oh, I see. Hey, and there's plenty of ways
it's not that funny.
to support our show. You don't have to just be a Patreon supporter, but if you want to, please go to 1980snow.com/support for more information. But you could also just send us an email. You can email me, will@1980snow.com. You could email Kat at 1980snow.com. But if you email her anything weird, she's never going to see it. I promise you she'll never see it. I will delete it.
So does that mean Will is screening all of our email? Is that what I'm hearing?
Should I not say that part? I don't know. I
just called yourself out.
Right now I'm not. But I don't want to give anybody any ideas either.
Okay.
That they have a free pass to Cat somehow. Anyway, hey, but
I don't know who wants that.
Or you could just make a comment on Facebook or Twitter or any of our social media accounts. And we posted in connection with the show, we asked folks to name a song that describes their aging experience thus far. And the Metatron on Twitter wrote, "To pop to mind, Alphaville's Forever Young." Oh, there you go.
Oh.
And the
nice.
Go-Betweens' Bye Bye Pride. I'm not familiar with that song, but saying goodbye to Pride.
Okay.
Is that consistent with being forever young? Maybe. Yeah, because you don't care what people think about you, maybe.
Sure.
Mama Mets fan on Twitter writes 19-something by Mark Wills. Yeah. Again.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how we feel. Andrew on Facebook writes, "The first thought I had was Springsteen's Glory Days, but that's not a perfect match because high school wasn't always glorious. Still, my teen years had their moments that I fondly look back on. I was not a jock, but a drama geek. So my big moments were on the stage, not on the baseball diamond. Still, when I think about high school, I guess that song does work after all."
Okay.
Yeah. You can have Glory Days for lots of reasons.
Yeah.
On Instagram, Creaties, our friend Creaties, who
Yay!
designed a
Creaties.
Cat's Rio album cover,
I love that.
writes easy. It's, as in it's easy to answer this question. Rush, Time Stand Still. Yeah. Creaties is living in the 80s just like us.
I thought you meant like the song, like "It's so easy to fall in love."
It's so easy.
It is easy.
to fall. Yeah.
That was the setup,
and
not
Mr.
the
Mark
song.
James
Got it.
writes, "Going down the road feeling bad." Oh, no.
Oh,
no.
He's living a hard life, maybe.
That's me only when I first stand
you need to
up.
stop going outside and stop going to the doctor. You'll feel much better.
Exactly. What lesson? You know what? I was just going to say, you just got to start thinking more youthfully, Mark. But what lesson did we teach people on this show? I don't know what the result is.
To get Crocs. Buy yourself some Crocs.
You know what? You're not going
And
to
I
learn
think
anything here. Yeah.
If you listen to a 1980s themed podcast,
Yeah.
just deduct 5 years. Go ahead.
There you go. Right. Very good. Hey, listen to our interview with Sherri later this week. We talk about plenty of these things. We will be, I don't know, maybe we'll be younger when we next talk to you. Or maybe we'll only be slightly older.
Maybe I'll wear pigtails.
How about this? We may be slightly older when we next talk to you, but we won't be old.
There you go.
That's
When we talk to you next time on 1980s Now.
Until next time.
Bye-bye.
This podcast is part of the 80s Ruled Network. Visit the 80s Ruled on Facebook for more 1980s awesomeness.